Welcome to the Health and Wellness Radio Podcast. We'll be discussing the latest in nutrition, sleep, exercise, health, and well-being. And we'll be focusing on a specific topic during each episode, including interviews, health tips, and listener questions. Every one of us is unique, and there is no one perfect plan for everyone. We'll sort through the plethora of conflicting, confusing, and misleading information out there and help you find a lifestyle that unlocks the healthiest, happiest version of you. Hi, I'm Aluna Dean, a certified health and wellness coach. One of the most common questions I'm asked is about which food plan is actually the healthiest. Most people I work with are very confused because everywhere they turn, a different food cult is claiming to be the only healthy way to eat. There's a lot of outdated science and misinformation out there, so I'm going to sort through it for you so that you have the facts and can make an informed decision about how to proceed with the eating style that's perfect for you. Every diet has positives and negatives, and every person needs a slightly different diet to be their healthiest. So how do you know what's best for your body? In this episode, I'll discuss the good and the bad things about the popular eating styles out there and help you figure out which one, or combination of several, will help you thrive in the long term, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. Though I don't advocate everyone eat one particular diet, some are better overall and some are generally detrimental to good health. For a long time, a low-fat diet was touted as the healthiest thing you could be doing for your body. Now we know through recent science that healthy fats and cholesterol are essential to good health. After all, why would nature create an egg with a yolk if we weren't supposed to eat the whole thing? One danger of any extreme diet is that people tend to assume that if something is bad, such as fat, which it's not by the way, then not eating any of it will be best for them. This is extremely dangerous in most cases. Macronutrients include proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, and they all play a role in maintaining good health, as do micronutrients, which include vitamins and minerals. Healthy dietary fats are essential to many body functions, including proper brain function, hormone regulation, body temperature control, energy production, protecting internal organs, satiety, fertility, emotional well-being, and many others. The other problem with eating a low-fat diet is that people end up eating a huge amount of carbohydrates, since cutting out most of the fat macronutrient group only leaves carb and protein foods to choose from. This is detrimental to good health, even for people who are extremely physically active. A lot of professional athletes have become pre-diabetic or diabetic from eating a high-carb diet. Many pro athletes think that since they're training so much, they can and should eat all the carbs they want, but it's just not true. Additionally, the problem with eating too much protein is that excess amounts are very difficult for the kidneys to process, which can lead to kidney disease. Too much protein in your body can also turn into glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis, and that could lead to high blood glucose and prediabetes. There are some people who do okay on a longer-term, higher carb, moderate protein, and moderate fat diet, but it's rare. One problem with eating high carbs and also getting adequate fat to be healthy is that eating carbs and fat in combination promotes fat storage. A lot of people on a low-fat diet suffer from low energy, low sex drive, and hormone imbalances, including low testosterone in men and fertility problems in women. Because nutritionists, me included, used to be taught that a low-fat diet is best, I used to eat that way for many years and ended up with low energy, sleep problems, and prediabetes. As soon as I cut out sugar, started eating fewer carbs, and adding more healthy fats into my diet, these problems disappeared. It was amazing. So now let's look at another eating style, which is keto, short for ketosis, which is a physical state in which your body uses ketones for energy instead of glucose. As far as macronutrients are concerned, this is the opposite of a low-fat diet. A keto diet is high in fat, low in carbs, and moderate in protein. Generally, men thrive on a low-carb, high-fat diet, but most women need a few more carbs to properly regulate hormones. Women can still do great on a low-carb diet, but the keto diet is much too low in carbs and not good for most younger women especially. The other thing that isn't good about the keto diet is that it doesn't stress eating organic, pasture-raised animal products, which are important for good health, as I'll explain later in this episode. The last thing I'll mention is that while for almost everyone a high saturated fat diet doesn't actually contribute to heart disease, approximately 10% of the population has an APOE gene that causes them to react negatively to saturated fat. To find out if you're one of the 10% that has an issue with this gene, you'll need to get your DNA tested. One last thing that I want to mention about the keto diet is that even though it's not right for most of us, it has been shown to be a very helpful therapeutic diet for treating people with serious diseases such as brain cancer, epilepsy, autism, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, multiple sclerosis, polycystic ovary syndrome, which is also known as PCOS, traumatic brain injury, migraines, and metabolic syndrome. The next eating style we'll look at is kind of the opposite of keto in terms of what you're allowed to eat, which is veganism. The good thing I'll say about a vegan diet is that if done a certain way, it can include a lot of vegetables and some nuts, which are both healthy. And you also won't be eating processed meats or any meats that contain added hormones or antibiotics. There are, however, a ton of detrimental things about the vegan diet. First, I'll say that I was a vegan until around age 5. My parents did vegan the best way possible. We grew several acres of produce on our property and didn't eat processed foods. However, my whole family suffered really negative health effects from it, especially my mom and I. Vegan diets lack a lot of essential vitamins and nutrients such as vitamin B12, vitamin K2, iron, zinc, calcium, vitamin D3, DHA, taurine, creatine, carnosine, and others. Unfortunately, a lot of nutrients in plants aren't bioavailable, which means they're not easily absorbed by your body. My mom suffered from severe hormone dysregulation for many years that improved drastically within 1 to 2 weeks of adding meat into her diet. I was anemic and I had terrible teeth problems due to a lack of both calcium and vitamin K2 in my diet. When I started eating organic dairy products, my health improved and shifted even more when I started eating meat a few years later. My dad also had some teeth issues after being a vegan for many years. Meat is incredibly nutrient dense, and most people feel a lot better when they include some of it in their diet. Be sure you're eating humanely raised, organic, pasture-raised meat though, as it's free from harmful antibiotics and hormones that other meats contain. Pasture-raised meat is also more nutrient-dense with high vitamin bioavailability and also contains higher amounts of healthy, anti-inflammatory omega-3 fats and fewer inflammatory omega-6 fats. This is important because inflammation in your body can lead to fatigue, autoimmune disorders, asthma, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. Another thing I don't like about the vegan diet is that it relies heavily on soy products as a protein source. Soy contains phytic acid, which blocks the absorption of vitamins and minerals from other foods you eat within a few hours before and after consuming the soy products. Soy also contains phytoestrogens, which can raise your body's estrogen levels, which can be really detrimental to both men and women. The last thing I don't like about veganism is that it's so limiting. People tend to eat too much processed foods such as pastas, crackers, and cookies. The gluten in all of those foods can be really detrimental to good health for many people, and processed foods are really difficult to digest and should not be included as a regular part of your diet. The vegan diet also doesn't have any restrictions on sugar consumption, which has detrimental health effects, as I mentioned earlier while discussing the low-fat diet. So now let's talk about the vegetarian diet. This is a lot healthier than eating a vegan diet, and some people can do okay on it if they include a lot of eggs, organic full-fat dairy products, and proper vitamin supplementation. I've found that most people feel okay on a vegan or vegetarian diet for a short to medium period of time, but often they start suffering from low energy and other much more serious health issues and eventually need to add some meat back into their diet. Though being a vegetarian is healthier than being a vegan, they both share some of the same problems, such as including too many processed foods, sugar, and gluten. Now let's look at the paleo eating style. This is by far the best overall choice for most people, but let's take a closer look at the positives and negatives. First, the thing I don't like about strict paleo is that it's too limiting in certain areas. While paleo includes a lot of great healthy foods, it excludes eating things like beans, oats, rice, potatoes, dairy, and some nuts. While I don't advocate eating a lot of these things as they can be problematic for some people, others feel great when including some of them in moderation, and it gives more occasional options to help avoid the palate fatigue that usually follows a limiting diet. One misconception about paleo is that you'll mostly eat meat. While organic, pasture-raised meat is an important component of the diet, there are many other foods that are a huge part of the diet that are included, such as vegetables, eggs, nuts, seeds, avocados, berries, sweet potatoes, fish, and healthy fats and oils. The diet advocates everything being fresh, local, organic, and seasonal, which is best for great health. Additionally, the macronutrient ratios tend to be great for almost everyone. Of all the popular eating styles, this is the one that is the best option for most people in the long run. Many of my friends and clients have told me about the huge positive changes in their lives since switching to a modified paleo diet. So, if none of these strict diet plans are perfect for everyone, what's the best option for you? The most important factor to begin with is to eat real food. Shop for a wide variety of dark-colored produce that's organic and in season. Choose eggs and meat that are organic and pasture-raised. Make meals from scratch with whole foods. Include one or more vegetables in every meal. Try all the different varieties of yummy, nutrient-full sweet potatoes, including jewel, garnet, white, yellow, purple, and Japanese, to name a few. Eat a wide variety of different foods. Experiment with eating small amounts of things such as full-fat organic dairy, beans, rice, oats, and nuts, and notice how they make you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally after eating them. Don't eat sugar or anything that's processed unless it's on a rare occasion. Carbohydrates shouldn't make up the majority of your macronutrients, but some are necessary for great health, especially for women. Also, most people need to go really slowly when eliminating sugars and excess carbs from their diet, so do it gradually, no cold turkey. The increased healthy fats and other yummy foods will really help with this. Be sure to eat a good amount of healthy fats, which can come from avocados, eggs, coconuts, nuts, meat, olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, and grass-fed butter. When switching to a whole foods diet, it's common for people to actually eat too little salt. So add a little pink Himalayan salt to each whole food meal. And remember, everything in moderation. Nothing is good for you in large amounts, even one of my favorites, broccoli. The last thing I'll leave you with today is just some common sense. Pay attention to how your body feels after you eat something. There are some foods that are considered extremely healthy, but may not be right for you. Some people don't feel well after they eat avocados, and they shouldn't force themselves to eat them just because the media says they're the healthiest thing out there. Don't listen to the food cults, but instead listen to your body's own inherent intelligence. Get excited about experimenting with different foods. You can do it. And if you'd like my help, let me know. My contact information will be coming up soon. That wraps up today's show. I hope you've learned something that inspires you and helps you to become the healthiest, happiest person you can be. If you're interested in receiving direct, personalized health and wellness coaching, you can visit my website, malunadeen.com, or email me directly at maluna@malunadeen.com. If you have a question you'd like me to address on an upcoming show, please write to me with as much information and detail as possible. Again, my address is maluna@malunadeen.com. Your support is what keeps this podcast going. If you'd like to support the show, you can find me on Patreon at malunadeen. Thanks, everyone. Have an amazing day. The information provided on this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose or treat any illness or disease. Consult a licensed physician before applying any of the information discussed on this podcast.